There are a ton of ways to express desire in English. After today's English lesson, you'll walk away knowing 15 alternative ways to say I want. And by the way, I'm Dasha, and on my channel, I help you take your English to the next level. So, the verb want is one of the most commonly used words in English, but it's also very much overused, especially by beginner to lower intermediary English speakers. Now, the reason you want to be careful about not overusing the words I want is because it can sound a bit too abrupt and rude in certain contexts, like formal settings. But first, let's consider a situation where you're asking for something. Say that you're at a restaurant or at a cafe and you'd like to order a drink or snack. If a waiter comes to you and you tell them, I want a soup, you'll come off as very rude and impolite. Instead, consider using any of these 6 alternatives. The first is saying, I'd like a soup, please. Or I'd like a glass of sparkling water, please. Then you could also use the phrase, I'll have a blueberry muffin, please. It might sound a bit weird at first because it's such a simple phrase, to have something, but it's definitely correct English. Similarly, you could also say, I'll take a club sandwich, or I'll take a cappuccino. Now, if you want to be very polite, you can say, could I have a strawberry cheesecake? Or could I get a brownie? By adding the subjunctive form of the verb can, you can elevate your style and sound more polite. All the same, there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, can I have a strawberry cheesecake? Or can I get a brownie? In American English, it's less common to use the subjunctive form in everyday language, even when being polite. So don't worry much about using could or can. Stick to what feels more natural to you. When I was at school, I distinctly remember being taught to say, may I go to the bathroom, please? And so another way of expressing your desire is to say, may I? This is generally very formal, and personally, it doesn't come naturally to me when I, let's say, am ordering food, but it's pretty useful in other situations. Imagine that you're sitting at a lecture and you need to ask someone for a pen. You could say, may I have your pen? Or if you're at a park and you want to sit on a bench, but someone is already sitting there, you can say, may I? It's short and sweet. And as a third and final example, let's say that you're at a friend's house and you'd like to ask their mom for a glass of water. You can say, may I have a glass of water, please? So those are the 6 expressions you can use when asking for something. But what about expressing a wish or desire in general? Well, make sure to take notes because here are 9 phrases that will make you sound fluent. The first is the phrase, I'm in the mood for something. This is a very, very versatile expression that you can use in relation to anything from food to activities. I can say, I'm in the mood for pizza. I'm in the mood for dancing. I'm in the mood for working out. By contrast, if you don't feel like doing something, you can say, I'm not in the mood for swimming, or I'm not in the mood for going to the beach. Then there's the phrases, I crave something, or I have a craving for something. A craving is a strong desire for something. You know how sometimes you're in the middle of doing an activity and then suddenly you have a craving for something salty. A lot of times on TV, you'll hear about pregnant women craving random foods like pickles. So yeah, I crave something and I have a craving for something are very commonly used expressions in English. If you're based in the UK, you might have heard of the phrase, I fancy something. It basically has two meanings. Since we're talking about alternatives to saying I want, to fancy something just means to want something. I fancy a beer, or I fancy going for a long walk. But it could also mean to like someone. Did you hear that John fancies Andrea? Another way to say I want is I'm dying for something, or I'm dying to do something. This again is a colloquial expression, and you'll use it when you really want something badly. It's kind of like saying, I'm really dying to go on holiday, or I'm really dying for a drink. And if you're not dying for something, you can say that you'd kill for something. For instance, imagine that you've had a very long day sitting at your desk and your back is stiff. You could say, I'd kill for a back massage right now. It means that you desperately want a back massage because it's so tight. Here's another one for you. I'm up for something. Are you up for a drink with us tonight? It means, do you want to have a drink with us tonight? Or I could ask you, shall we go see a movie tonight? And you could answer back, nah, I'm not up for going out tonight. Similarly, you have the expression, I feel like. Again, this is a very versatile phrase. You could say something like, I feel like watching Netflix and eating a tub of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I feel like singing, or I feel like dancing. You can even say, I feel like pizza for dinner, which doesn't mean that you actually feel like a pizza, but it just means that you feel like having or eating pizza for dinner. If you really want to sound fluent next time you're in the mood for something, use the phrase, I could really do with, and insert something that you really want or really need. So imagine that you're fixing a broken coffee machine and you need a screwdriver, but you don't have one. You could say, I could really do with a screwdriver. It's like saying, I could really benefit from or use a screwdriver right now. Or in another scenario, you're at the beach and you're melting away because it's so hot. You can say, I could really do with an ice cream. And sometimes a very simple yet powerful substitute will do. And you can say, I'd love something rather than I want something. So if you can't remember any of these phrases, feel free to say, I'd love a coffee, or I'd love to go for a run. Well, that's all for now. 15 different ways to say I want. If you'd like to do a bit of homework, drop 3 example sentences in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to give you my input. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to never miss an English lesson.